other side, ladies and gentlemen. It's been 1 week since the United States launched Operation Epic Fury, but there is only growing uncertainty while US continues launching its attacks. The questions on objectives remain unanswered. What was the objective of this war? Was it to eliminate Iran's missile capability, nuclear capability, or effect a regime change? When the first B-2 bombers reached Iranian airspace last Saturday, the mission statement was clear: destroy nuclear capability. But as the dust settles, well, not quite, but of course, on statements, we've heard multiple versions from Trump. So what's the ultimate end game? While America isn't clear at this point, we will try to get some perspective today from the Israeli side. Joining us on the broadcast tonight on the Newshour is Shosh Bedrosian, the spokesperson of Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. Thank you very much for joining me on this segment of the Newshour. Thank you very much, Ms. Bedrosian. Many thanks for taking the time and trying to explain that the war that has now lasted 1 week has hit back across Middle East, including targeting the Israeli embassy in Bahrain. What's your assessment of the things as they stand today?
Sure. Well, this is a historic operation between the United States and Israel, an operation we have never seen at this scale in terms of cooperation together. We have made historic gains. And what are these gains? These gains are taking out the nuclear and ballistic missile capabilities and the immense threat that the Islamic Republic of Iran has posed to the United States, to Israel, to India, to Europe, the greater world, because that's what the Islamic Republic has been for about 50 years since the Ayatollah regime first took over. I want to tell your viewers right now that the 15th wave of strikes on the Islamic Republic of Iran is taking place as we speak right now, where our heroic soldiers of the United States and Israel are targeting terror infrastructure that the Islamic Republic of Iran has in place to not only threaten us, but to continue to oppress their own people. There are massive milestones as well that we have accomplished together. I'd also like to tell your viewers at this point, within the last hour or so, about 50 Israeli Air Force fighter jets actually dismantled the former supreme leader of Iran, Ali Khamenei's underground military bunker that was located beneath the Iranian regime's leadership in Tehran. This is located within the civilian population. So that is the latest with the operation right now.
Have you been surprised by the scale and extent of Iran's response?
Sorry, could you just repeat that?
Have you been surprised by the scale and extent of Iran's response?
Yeah, sure, of course. This is a very large-scale operation that's taking place. It needs to be, because Iran is a very large country, as many people know, and it is an enormous population. About 90 million people live in the country of Iran. I want to talk about these people, the people of Iran. Prime Minister Netanyahu has made it very clear. This is not an operation against the people of Iran. It is an operation against an Ayatollah regime who has oppressed them for 50 years. When I talk about oppression, I mean, the people of Iran haven't had access to basic necessities, electricity, water, even when it comes to food, because the prices are so high because of the economic constraints the people have forced to live through. They've had no freedom of choice, no ability to elect the leader they want, a lack of women's rights, so many women detained for not wearing a hijab, this morality police that exists. This is the society the Iranian people have been subjected to for 50 years when the first Ayatollah Khomeini came to power back in 1979. And it is time that the Iranian people take power into their own hand. And that is what this operation will do. And that's what we're aiming to do, to remove the immediate threat to the Iranian people and to us in the United States and India and the greater world, to allow the Iranian people to take destiny and the driver wheel into their own hand to create the future that they have desperately wanted for 50 years.
So I want to understand from you, when this war began, was it about regime change or was it about destroying the nuclear and missile power of Iran? And where do these objectives stand today?
The objectives stand the exact same way that the prime minister has laid out, in addition to President Trump, and that is to remove the immediate threat that the ballistic missile program Iran has and the nuclear program that Iran has, to remove that threat because it was imminent. I want to tell you that we believed that Iran was going to attack us first. We had evidence, we had intelligence to prove that, and we decided to defend ourselves. And that's why this operation was launched. In addition, after the Operation Rising Lion took place in June, in addition to Midnight Hammer, where Israel and the United States worked together to deteriorate the nuclear program that's in Iran, we noticed within the last 6 months that Iran was continuing to build underground bunker sites to continue expanding this nuclear program and the ballistic missile site as well. We saw that, and we realized if we don't act now, there will be a massive problem and a large threat to the world if we don't act now. It will be so grand and so large and so dangerous that if we wait, we won't know how to deal with it. So we're at this point where we needed to act now for the greater world.
So did you anticipate that Iran would target specific energy installation across the Middle East, leading to a crisis of supply that so many countries are dependent on?
Look, I think it's difficult to predict what a mass murder machine of Iran is willing to do. But I think that they've proven to the world what they want to do, right? We've seen over the last week, Iran threaten and attack and kill people across the region in the Gulf states. These Arab countries who are not part of this, whose civilian population is being targeted. We saw hotels having direct threats of ballistic missiles and drone attacks by Iran on other Arab countries. This just shows who the regime is and what they actually want to do, not just to the United States, not just to the state of Israel, but to the region. And that's what the prime minister has said, that this operation could usher in an era of peace we have never yet seen before, because removing the Ayatollah regime of Iran will stabilize the region, because they have worked so hard to destabilize it for 50 years. When it comes to funding the terror proxies that surround the state of Israel, Hamas, the Houthis, Hezbollah, who has now chosen to be part of this war as well by launching ballistic missile attacks and drone attacks against our people. Removing the head of the snake, removing them from this region will create peace.
President Trump has stated that he would like to be involved in the choosing of the successor ruler of Iran. Where does Israel stand on that? And till such regime change, will the war go on? It's something that the entire world wants to know.
Look, I think we're right now in this moment, and we're taking every day, step by step. And right now, we're still working to take down this immediate threat, take away this terror infrastructure that still exists. Just for your information and for your viewers listening and watching right now, they need to know that just today, we had several sirens that went off in central Israel. Additionally, in the north of Israel, people have been taking shelter nearly all day from Iranian ballistic missiles. So we're still in this moment of our civilian population protecting ourselves from the incoming attacks that we are facing. But when it comes to the future, Prime Minister Netanyahu has said he wants the Iranian people to choose. He wants to give them the opportunity to finally have a democratic society and be able to select what that destiny looks like in a fair election process. But we need to remove that threat in order for the Iranian people to get to that point in time, but also for the region to feel safer, completely removing the regime.
There's one question that has been doing the rounds. Who forced whose hand? Did America force Israel's hand, or did Israel force America's hand in beginning this conflict?
I think it's a good question, because there's been an immense amount of misinformation when it comes to this topic. There was a New York Times report saying that Israel forced the hand of the United States to act. It is completely BS. It is not true at all. And I'll tell you why. President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu are on the exact same page, and they have been for decades. Before President Trump was reelected for his second term, he told the Prime Minister that Iran cannot have a nuclear program. This is something both of them have seen eye to eye on, And we have worked with the United States to take steps to eliminate that threat, right? Back in June, we had Operation Midnight Hammer, where B-2 bombers struck Fordow and the other nuclear program site located inside of Iran. Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump are on the same page. They have a historic relationship, one we've never seen between the United States and Israel before. And Prime Minister Netanyahu says he has never seen, and we've never had, a greater friend in the White House than President Trump, because he understands the threat that this poses, not just to Israel, right? The United States as well. I want to take you back to October 7th, what happened to our people. October 7th was a day that we will never forget. There was a storm of Hamas terrorists that stormed our border, massacring 1,200 people, murdering them, taking more than 200 people captive from our southern border that is next to the Gaza Strip. Hamas, those terrorists that crossed our border, they were trained, they were funded by the Islamic Republic of Iran. And there were Americans that were murdered that day and also taken captive. This is not a situation that only affects Israel. It affects the United States, Europe. It affects India as well. And Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Netanyahu are very close friends. And before this operation took place, Prime Minister Modi was actually here for a historic visit with Prime Minister Netanyahu. I was able to see Prime Minister Netanyahu and Prime Minister Modi interact and greet each other, hug each other, because they are very, very close friends. And the Prime Minister actually confirmed to an Indian station just the other day that the two did have a conversation over the last week.
Well, in the end, I just want to get your view on whether you see, after all the close coordination between America and Israel, America putting boots on the ground in Iran, in Lebanon. Do you see them doing that?
Well, look, like I said before, every day is one step at a time. I'm glad you brought up what is happening with Lebanon, because once again, our northern region and our central region here in Israel is under threat by another Iranian terror proxy, Hezbollah. One of the only reasons why Hezbollah even exists is to threaten the state of Israel. There's no reason why a militia terror group, Hezbollah, needs to be on our northern border. But it makes sense because that's what Iran wants to do, to annihilate the state of Israel, the only Jewish state in the world. And so right now, there was a ceasefire in place before this, but when Iran decided to attack us, Hezbollah decided to join in. What does that mean? They started shooting ballistic missiles and sending drones targeting our communities. There should be no Hezbollah in Lebanon. And the poor people of Lebanon have had to deal with this terror group inside of Beirut, in addition to southern Lebanon. Can you imagine what these people have gone through as well? In addition to the people of Gaza, who have to deal with Hamas, another terror organization who has ruled a terror reign over their own people. What do those two groups have in common? They are both funded and trained by the Islamic Republic of Iran. There's no coincidence in this. Iran wants to annihilate the state of Israel. We will never allow it to happen, and we will never allow their terror proxies to do that as well, ever.
Well, we do hope we see peace returning sooner than later, because yes, you have some goals, but the fact is not just Iran, Israel, and the United States, but the entire world is impacted by this conflict. We do hope we see an end sooner than later. Thank you very much, Ms. Bedrosian, for joining me here on the Newshour tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.